Okay, good morning everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to class. So this is new for me anyways. I know you guys have had some experience with Mrs. Ward doing this, but this is so new for me to be standing in front of the green screen and projecting live like this. So welcome to my first experience here. So if you cannot hear me, that is because you need to be in the live studio there. So there's still a few of you that I know are in Blackboard but need to still be in the live. So I'm just going to send a message, making sure everyone is there as well. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. So I'm not going to start until I can kind of see where we are with everybody coming into class. All right. So if everyone can just hop over to the live, that'd be fantastic. So while we're waiting, tell me about your guys' weekends. What did you guys do? What were some fun things that happened? For mine, we spent a lot of the weekend we moved into a place this summer, so we spent a lot of the time renovating the place and spray painting interior doors that are going to go in, and we picked up our IKEA furniture or our kitchen stuff, and that's going to get put in hopefully this weekend coming up. And then we moved a shed and built a shed and cleaned up and all that kind of stuff. It was crazy. You went swimming. You got, oh yeah, yeah, I bet it's a little bit hotter than it is here. It wasn't really nice up here, so real good for you though. Burnt, you'll get over it. You'll be okay. It hurts. Is it really, really bad, Caitlin? You didn't do anything, Angelina? That's okay. I saw you at bowling, so that was fun. That was good. Oh, are you okay? Alexis, are you feeling better at all? Is it... hopefully the weekend gave you time to get better. A wedding, nice. Those are always fun. You helped to set up. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of work to do that, Kyla. 6th birthday for Bryn's cousin, fun. Oh, Jocelyn, that's okay. I'm sure you guys did something. You probably watched movies or caught up on some of your shows. It's so bad. Oh, what do they say? They say like put sour cream or is it something like that on it? It's supposed to help. I don't know what it is exactly. Oh, you're still sick? Oh, well, it's nice that you're here. That's good. At least you can stay in bed and stay online here. So, did math homework. Good girl, Caitlin. That's awesome. Aloe gel helps too. Yeah, it helps sort of stop with all the peeling as well. It won't connect for you, Cassie. Keep trying. I don't know what's up with that. I'm just going to do a double check here. Is Josh in live classroom yet? Yeah, he is. Good. Is Slade in live classroom yet? No, I don't see Slade in there. Danica's in now, so that's good. Did Belle pop in? Belle. Yep, she's there. Cool. Okay, who else is added? Jessica is here now. Okay, so that's perfect. So, do I have Emily yet? No, Emily's not here yet. And I don't see Haley. Cassandra M, I don't see. Dean, I don't see. Oh yeah, I knew Dean was going to be away today, so that's fine. Okay, so I think I need, as soon as Cassie can fix her issue, hopefully she can get in there soon. That would be awesome. And Jessica, did she pop in yet? That is so hard to read that writing. Okay. No, Jess is still not in there yet. Oh my, oh, it'll take some time, Caitlin, for that to get better. It's nasty when you do that. Oh, thanks, Belle, for letting us know you're here. That's awesome. Okay, so I just need to get Jess in there, and Cassandra is fixing her issue. Okay, just telling Jess she needs to be there. Oh, we haven't been voting very much, Belle. Oh, it's fun. We used to have a vote, but we ended up getting rid of it just because our weekends were so busy, and by the time we ended up getting out, the weather was bad or so hard to park and find a place to put the trailer and everything, so we ended up just getting rid of it, and we got a pool in our yard, like just one of those big inflatable ones, so that's kind of cool. She laughs at my pain. Okay. All right. Did I get Jess yet? No, don't have Jess yet. Oh, someone just got added in. Oh, there, Cassandra's in. Yay! That's awesome. Okay, and just waiting on Jess. Let's see how it's going. She in yet? Okay. All right, there she is. Perfect. Okay, we have a class for now of the people that were able to show up, so that's fantastic. So great. So first thing I just want to do with you guys is just look at kind of the calendar that's coming up for September. So the big thing is on Friday, you get to go rock climbing, which is great. So I just posted below it in this kind of area here showing the time. So it's from 1 to 3, so it's a little later than some of the ones we've been going to. So just off of Banks Road, and make sure you're in comfortable clothes. You need to be able to, because rock climbing is actually more legs and arms, which is a total misconception for some people. So make sure you have something on that you're able to have flexibility with your legs as well. So, all right. And then I wanted to show the week coming up. Actually, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. Remember squirrel? I'm always squirrel. So some of you heard this, but I know. So when we used to go rock climbing with some friends, and we have some friends that are insane rock climbers, like they're amazing, and they do bouldering and like major bouldering. Bouldering is when you have nothing attached and you just use your hands and everything. And they used to go down the States and do it in some of those major areas. And so we went rock climbing a couple times with them, and this one time we went, my husband decided to record all of us going up and everything, and so we're belaying and people are climbing and doing all that stuff. And so we get home and we thought, hey, let's just watch and see what it looks like. So we're watching and we're watching, and then all of a sudden the rock climbing's done and I'm signing my wedding registry. And yeah, so my husband did not look to see what tape was still in the machine, and he taped over our wedding. So I was like, what? But lucky enough, his mom had also recorded it, so he was good. I was so upset that I actually kind of didn't even say a word. I just went away and I just walked away. I'm like, I can't even say anything. It was a little crazy. So that's my rock climbing story, because it's a very memorable one. What? Slade, are you sure about that? They taped over the moon landing video? From where? What video? That they recorded themselves? Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, stuff happens. I know. I forgave him, but he felt so bad. He actually phoned places to see if they could like take off that kind of rock climbing part of it and then get the video underneath, and no one could do it. And yeah, it's crazy. Oh, thanks, Slade, for sharing that. Okay, you knew it, Cassie. Nice. Okay. So I just want to show you guys October as well, because seriously, it's next week. It's crazy. The weather is dictating that it is October, though it's starting to cool down. So Monday is actually no class day, but there is a field trip that they're wanting all of you guys to go on to. And oh, it's on the 3rd. Great. And so you're going to get more information. Mrs. Ward, I won't be there. I'm actually gone for the day on Monday, but Mrs. Ward's going to be with you, and Mrs. Wood is going to be with you guys as well. And I'm sure that she'll give you some more details on kind of where you're supposed to go and all that kind of stuff. So it's Monday the 2nd, so it's a no school day technically, but you get to go do some learning on this field trip. They call it the party program, so stay tuned for more information there. And then there's some continuation of the art lessons on the 4th, so make sure you're signing up for that on the homeroom. Continuation of some rock climbing, so that's going to be number 2. And then Friday you get the day off as well, which is fantastic. All right. Okay. The other thing is Thursday. Because I'm losing you guys on Monday, and this semester thing is just like a rocket, how little time you actually have, and then I miss you guys on Mondays. For some holiday stuff and everything like that. So I sort of needed some time in there. So Mrs. Ward is nice enough to give me an hour and a half of her time on Thursday. So I'll have you guys on Wednesday as usual, and then I'll see you guys on Thursday for the first hour and a half, and then you'll have Mrs. Ward for the last hour, okay? But I'll keep reminding you of that, so make sure you're ready to go in my Blackboard and stuff on the Thursday morning, and then you'll switch over, okay? Cool. Okay, Good. We're good with the birthdays. We don't need everyone posting birthdays on there. Fantastic. Okay. So, where am I here? All right. So, I just want to bring up a couple things just to kind of let you know how things are progressing so far. So guys, if I can just get you guys listening and don't worry about the chatter right now, that'd be great. Thanks. So what is happening with the marking system? I'm still learning it, and there's also some limitations on how I normally mark and how I do things and how the system is. I went in on Friday, and I think I've come up with, I've sort of added in something into the system that will help me a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is work with that and see how that goes. Now, keeping that in mind, there's only been a couple things that we have done. I don't want you sort of freaking out about a couple percentages here, a couple percentages there. That's not anything to worry about right now. Everything sort of unfolds later. The weighting systems change, and I also do things a little different too. I look at you as a whole person, not as a series of sort of tasks that you've done. So I look to see how you did at the start, how you did at the end, and look for kind of improvement on that. I look to see that, okay, on the test you did phenomenal, but you didn't do well on the quizzes or on the worksheets. That's fine. That means you understand it now, right? Remember, mistakes are good. That's learning, all that sort of thing. So that is why I don't want you stressing about the little marks leading up to it. It's going to be at the end what I'm going to look at. Now, keeping that in mind too, let's say you've done super, super awesome on everything and it seems like you know what you're doing, and then on a test you bomb it. I'm going to have a conversation with you to find out what's going on. So it could have been something where, you know, there are answer keys and you're putting the answer keys, just looking at the answers there and putting the answers in and kind of making it seem like you knew what you were doing, those sorts of things. Or maybe you were like super sick for a couple days, I didn't know about it, and that, you know, you just weren't yourself on that test. We'll have a discussion. So I just want you to know that one mark is not necessarily going to kill you in terms of your grading or anything like that. And it's a whole series of the big picture of your learning along the way. So, so don't start kind of worrying right now. It's just fresh. We just got a couple things in there, and don't stress about that. But if there is something of a concern, then obviously you're allowed to redo assignments with me, hand things in again, but just have a conversation with me about that. And the last part, just let me know something if there's something I need to know. So let me know if I'm talking too fast, if you need me to go over another question again, if you, whatever, anything like that. Just let me know along the way as we go if you feel there's a need for me to do something differently than what I'm doing to help, okay? All right, so any questions or comments about that right now at all? Everyone good? Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so we're going to play a little activity to get us started. You need a piece of paper all the time. Always have a piece of paper with you, just because you're always going to be taking math notes and all that stuff. So have a piece of paper out. And what I need you to do is you need to write a 5-digit number. So, silly Miss Mac did not show you what she wanted you to do. So I'm going to do this on Blackboard, so just have a little peek at Blackboard. Oh, am I going to be able to do that? All right, so 5-digit number, sorry, that first one, and then, but I want it to be one that has a decimal place. So you're going to have hundreds, tens, and ones. You're going to have tenths, and you're going to have hundredths. So let me change my color because that's just a silly color. Okay. So this is your hundredth spot. I'm trying to do this. Hundreds, tens, ones. And this is where you're going to do your tenths. I'm going to do a little TH here. And then hundredths go here. Okay? So those TH ones are the ones that come after the decimal. Okay? So, yes, please do that. Oh, thanks, Slade. Perfect. Emily has joined us. She's getting in. Excellent. Okay. All right. So you're going to write that number down. And here is how the game goes. Your task, without cheating, be honest, you know, there's no big trophy or prize at the end of this. What I want you to do is try to be the last person standing after I go through and try to eliminate you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to name a place value spot. And what I want you to do is if you have that particular number in that particular place value spot, you sit down technically, or you're out of the competition, okay? So this is how I'm going to do this. On Blackboard, I want you to put a check mark. Every single person, I want you to put a check mark. And what that's going to do is tell me you're still in the game. And then when you are forced to sit down or kind of be out of the game, take your check mark off, okay? So everyone put a check mark on there. So Danica, I'll just need you to put a check mark on. And Lindsay, just get Lindsay to do that. So make sure you are listening to where the place value spot is. So what I have here, you can see that. I have a board and it has your place value spots on it. And as I call that number in that place value spot, I will kind of put a little check mark knowing that I've used it. You have to use a minimum of 2 numbers. Okay, so you can't have all like 7s going across the board. It has to be a minimum of 2 numbers. And other than that, I think that is the extent of the rooms. That's okay, Emily, no problem. Okay, and Lindsay is typing to me. Sorry, I couldn't hear anything but my name. What do you want me to do? Can you hear me now, Lindsay? Okay, perfect. Just put a check mark next to your name, please. And then did you hear the game? Did you hear what you had to do? Okay, so what you need to do, actually I can write it on this board. I need you to create a 5-digit number. So 3 are in front. Oh, sorry, there's a glare. It's kind of hard to see. And it's green. That's my only color marker. I wasn't planning on showing it to them. So you're doing a 3-digit number. If you look at the Blackboard, Lindsay, it's there. So you're going to do a 5-digit number with 3 in front of the decimal. And so 3 in front of the decimal, hundreds, tens, ones, and 2 after the decimal, tenths and hundreds. It has to be a minimum of 2 numbers. Okay, so and then you can arrange zeros count. 0 is included in this whole thing. Okay? All right. All right, I think we are going to have people typing, but I think we are good to go, everybody. So everyone's check marks are there. If I say a number in a place value spot that you have, then you have to take your check mark off. Okay, so we have to use. No. It's a 5-digit number, and you're using 1 number each place value spot, but you can't go 77777. You can go 717171 if you wanted to, or you can go 15623, whatever. But you can't have like all 7s in your spot. Okay, perfect. That one of the teachers. Oh, I know. Merle doesn't like this, but I am going to do something one day. There's going to be a green shirt, or I'm going to be like a floating head or something. I got to do something. It's just too fun. You don't get to people don't get to do this very often, right? So you got to like experience. You got to live this whole thing up. Okay. All right. So here we go. You guys ready? So in the 1 spot, a 6. So if you have a 6 in the 1 spot, you take the check mark off and you sit down, or well, you stay where you are. In the hundreds, a 3. In the hundredths, a 7. Ah, Danica's out. In the tens, an 8. In the tenths, a 4. In the ones, a 0. In the hundreds, a 1. In the tenths, a 1. Ooh, she did ones back to back. In the tens, a 5. Oh, I don't think I got anybody on that one, did I? Sorry, I just want to see the top of the food chain here. Okay, I still got a few people. In the hundredths, a 3. In the tens, a 9. So remember, don't cheat, don't change your numbers. In the hundreds, a 5. That was hundreds, a 5. In the ones, a 2. All right, where are we at here? So I got Angelina left, Dylan, Emily, Caitlin P, and Slade. Okay, in the 10th spot, a 6. In the ones, a 3. In the tens, a 2. In the hundreds, a 9. Oh, who am I down to? Oh, I'm down to 3. Okay, so I have Dylan, Emily, and Caitlin. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna get you guys all in one sweep. Just watch this. Okay, in the hundredths, a 1. In the tenths, a 0. Oh, sorry. I crossed off the wrong one. I said tenths, but I crossed off the wrong one. So in the tenths, a 0. In the tens, a 3. In the tenths, a 3. Woohoo, Caitlin! See what happens when you get sunburnt? You win. It's so exciting. That's awesome. Okay, come up with a new number. You can actually use the same number if you wanted to, because I kind of just randomly call my numbers. But yeah, you can come up with a new number. And I just got to fix up all mine. Give you guys a couple seconds. We'll play this one more time. See if Sunburn Girl can win again. See if she can do a repeat. 2, 3, 6, 0. 1, 2, 4. 1, 3, 4, 6, 0. 1, 3, 7. Okay, my board is ready to go. All right. All right, here we go. The decimal is in between the ones and the tenths. So if you look on your blackboard, guys, it's written there. It's still sitting there if you need to look at it again. Do you want to know what they're called? Oh, sorry, tenths is the first one right after the decimal, and hundredths is the second one after. There's no oneths. We don't like saying oneths. It's kind of awkward to say oneths. Okay, here we go. We're going to start off with the tens. We're going to do a 8 in the tens. Oh, sorry, everyone needs to put check marks up. Good call. Sorry, I started seeing you guys do that. You guys are like way ahead of me. You're awesome. All right, check marks are in except for Josh and Josh, then Sean. Check mark. Check mark. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Oh, and Angelina needs to check mark too. Okay, you guys might have got kicked out, I'm not sure, but make sure you guys get a check mark there. Okay, here we go. So tens and 8. In the hundredths, a 2. We should raise our hands instead, then the people in the game would stay at the top. Yeah, that would work too. That's okay. We'll do it this way. It's easier for me visually to sort of see who's still in that way, I think, because the hands don't stay up all the time for me. So, okay, in the hundreds spot, we'll do an 8. In the ones, we'll do a 1. In the tenths, we'll do a 0. In the ones, we'll do a 3. In the hundreds, we'll do a 4. In the hundreds, we'll do a 9. In the ones, we'll do a 7. In the hundredths, we'll do a 6. Okay, got a few there. In the tenths, we'll do a 1. In the tens, we'll do a 4. Let's see, how many do I have left here? Oh, I got a few more, okay. In the hundreds, I'll take a 5, please, Bob Barker. You guys don't know who that is. I'm showing my age there. In the ones, a 6. Oh, in the tens, a 1. In the ones, a 0. In the hundredths, a 1. It was from it's a TV show. It was like a game show. Price is Right. In the hundreds, a 1. In the tenths, a 5. Oh, you guys are like doing well here. I can't get you out. In the hundredths, a 0. In the tens, a 9. Oh, there we go. So I'm down to Slade, Lindsay, and Caitlin P. and Angelina. Okay. In the hundreds, a 3. In the ones, a 4. In the tenths, a 2. Dos. Did I say tenths there? That's the tenths. Sorry, in the tenths, a 2, and I'll do a tens, a 2. So make sure tenths and tens have 2 removed. Okay, in the hundredths, a 5. You guys are cheating. Come on, I've got to have you out here by now. Okay, in the tenths, a 9. In the hundreds, a 6. In the ones, a 2. I know you're not cheating. I'm just bugging you guys because I'm not beating you guys fast enough. In the tenths, a 3. Is Angelina still in? Okay, so I'm down to you 3. Okay, I'm almost at a number. Okay, in the hundreds, a 0. Oh, someone has to go on that one. Come on. In the tens, a 7. Yeah, there we go, down to 2. In the ones, a 9. In the tenths, an 8. In the hundredths, a 3. In the ones, a 5. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, in the tens, a 5. In the hundreds, a 2. Do you guys have the same number? This is crazy. In the tenths, a 4. All right, I am down to like almost one number in each spot here. We're getting close. So I might knock you guys both out of this one. In the ones, an 8. You guys have to be out with ones in the 8. I've called every number in the ones. What do you have in your ones, Caitlin? There we go. Good job. So Lindsay and Caitlin, good job. So Caitlin, that burn, that's a double whammy you got going on there. That's awesome. Okay. So, good. So, and with that, so that can just get you to 7. I think I called that a little while ago, I think. All right. So what I want to do is see if there's any questions from you guys with, from last day's learning guide that you guys had to do. Just to see if everyone is doing okay with the learning guide. Was anyone stuck on something? And I know you guys can see the answers and everything like that, but just wanting to know if anyone had any questions before I continued on. We're going to do a little bit of a review of some of that stuff today anyway, so. Okay. Silence, good. I think that means we're good. Okay. So. All right, so here we are, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some time to do some work here. I'm going to give you guys, how many questions did I make? 5 questions, okay? So I'm going to give you guys 5 questions to do, and then I'm going to let you guys go off and finish those questions, and then we're going to come back and look at those, okay? Yeah, so the answer key does help you, but just in case some of you guys, you look at the answer key, you're like, what? You're like, how did I get that? You're like, ah. So sometimes that does happen. That happens to me. I'm like, I look back and I'm like, okay, what? And then, sometimes you do figure it out. So, okay, so I'm going to give you guys, let's do this. I'm not going to be able to fit it all on this screen. So what I'm going to do is I'll give you guys a couple questions. So I'll give you Oh, I can write them down. Yeah, I'll do it this way and then I'll do the work separately. Okay. So have something out to write with. You're going to just write all the 5 questions down as I write them, and then you can write the question down below that and do the work after that if you have to do work. Okay, so question number 1 is negative 2x to the power 4 y squared, and that's in brackets with the 5x to the power of 3 y in brackets as well. So that's question number 1. I'll put question number 2 right next to it. So question number 2. So right now you're not doing the work, just write the questions out for me, please. 12 x to the power of 3 y to the power of 2, and we're going to divide this bad boy, and we get 3x to the power of 4 and y to the power of 2. Question number 3. These are fractional ones, so 2x to the power of 6 to y over 8x squared y to the power of 5, and we are multiplying that fraction to 8x to the power of 3 y to the power of 7. Oh, thanks, Lindsay. Yeah, there's always some things going on there with the answer key. When I did the answer key, I noticed that there actually were some answers that were wrong. So, yeah. Yeah, let me continue. And then 5x on the bottom. 4, there's a negative on the outside, so make sure you're not thinking I just have a little dash there for any reason other than that. A 2x to the power of 4 y squared, and on the outside goes to exponent 0, that's a 0. And then brackets here, 5x3, the y, and last question, I'll write it right here. 2x to the power of 6 y over 8 x squared y to the power of 5 divided by 8x cubed y to the 7 5x. Okay, so I'll give you guys a few seconds to write all those questions down, and then what I am going to do is give you guys 10 minutes to do a little bit of that work. We'll come back and we'll go over the questions and see how you guys did with that. Okay. For question 3 is the exponent of 5. This guy is a 5. Yeah, my y is in the way. That is a 5. Okay. So is that all clear there for everybody? Are we good? Question 3 and 5. What did I do? No, they're not. No, they're not. Ooh, tricky, tricky. Miss Mark is tricky. They're not the same question. All right. So 10 minutes. Off you guys go. I will still be able to see you guys on Blackboard chat. And we'll see you in 10 minutes. Have fun doing math. Bye-bye. Okay, we're back. So, not finished, totally fine, make mistakes, totally fine. So what we're going to do is look at these questions and do them separately. I'm having an issue just sending messages in the private chat, so if I haven't replied to you, that's because I just can't type right now. And Kyla, I'm glad you saw it's multiplying, dividing, that's awesome. We're going to go over all of them, so don't worry about Jocelyn. We're going to get to all of them. Okay, so let's do this. So the first one, -2 4x y squared. And if you're not understanding, this is the really good time to watch what's happening and ask me questions if you're stuck with something, if you don't understand why I did that, to show it again. And then this is where you guys sort of start reaffirming things in your head and understanding it a little bit better. Okay, so these brackets mean multiplying, so we have to also multiply the big coefficient numbers that we talked about last day, so we have to make sure that we multiply those as well. So -2 and a -10, or -2 and a 5 is -10, okay? So now when we are multiplying with exponents as they are, can someone remind me what I have to do to those exponents when they have the same base? What do I do to those exponents? Good, thanks, Cassie. Okay, so if I have, I'm going to do a different color here. If I have x to the power 4 and x to the power 3, they have the same base, so I add those together. So I'm going to get x to the power of 7. Okay, and then the same thing goes with the y's, same base. There's nothing here. What does that mean? Does that mean a 0? What does that mean? What number is actually there? Good. And why is it there? Because we are what in math? We are lazy. Yes. Okay. So there's actually a 1 right there. So when we add those together, we get y to the power of 3. Okay? So are we okay with that? Hopefully. I'm going to do the next question. So sorry, that was question number 1. Okay. All right, question number 2. We have 12x to the power of 3, y to the power of 2 divided by, oops, I got to put brackets, divided by 3x to the power of 4 and y to the power of 2. So with division, we're going to get to the coefficients in a second, but with divisions, what do we have to do with the exponents now when we're dividing? As long as the base is the same, what do we do with the exponents? Yes, good, thanks Lindsay. So we subtract them. So we still, again, like I said last time, we have to make sure that our coefficients are divided as well. So 12 divided by 3 is the big 4. All right, and the x's. I have an x to the power of 2 and x to the power of 4. So if I subtract those, what do I actually get, guys? Yes, -1, perfect. So I'm going to have x to the power of -1. And that is possible, and we will be going over what that actually means. It actually, we're going to leave it like that for now, but later on today, I'm going to show you how that kind of changes things if there's a negative exponent. And then new color. And then we have y to the power of 2, subtract y to the power of 2. What do I get, guys? Y to the power of 0. And we're lazy in math, so do we actually show this? Because what is anything to the power of 0? It is a 1. So the answer is technically 4x to the power of -1. Okay? So this means 1, and if we times 1 by anything, then it stays the same number, so it's useless to be there, so it doesn't need to be there. Okay. So hopefully everyone's okay with those ones. Okay. All right, let's look at question number 3. Go back to my black. I'm going to take the whole page to do this one. Maybe we'll see. To the power of y, 8 squared y 5 times 8x3y to 7. If Miss Mac was good, she would have had this all prepped up already, but she's good. She's just figuring this out. She's getting this. Okay, so what we need to do now, this would be my suggestion for this one, would be to simplify before you do all the actual multiplying and do all the joining of things. If you want to do it that way, if you want, that's fine. If you don't want to do it that way, what you could do is do all the multiplying of everything first and then try to start simplifying after that. The only reason I choose to do it simplifying first is that it just makes everything smaller numbers to deal with, and it's kind of easier in your head, because sometimes the coefficients, they can, you know, if they're bigger numbers, they get quite big, and you start missing what goes into those numbers. So you could miss like an actual, like 15 goes into that number and not really know it. So that is just why I do it that way. So I'm just going to show it that way. If someone doesn't like that, later on I can show you the longer way of doing that. And I have already showed it to you, so you could go back at last day's lesson and look there and see how I did it that way, or I can help you a little later. So I'm going to reduce, and that means in terms of trying to make numbers smaller. So I'm looking at this, and I have a 2 here and an 8 here. I know 2 goes into 2 once, and I know 2 goes into 8 4 times. And then I'm looking, okay, well now I have an 8 over here. Remember what I said last day? It doesn't matter if it's on the same side or not, as long as it's a numerator and denominator that you're doing the reducing with. So despite the fact that the 8's on this side and the 4's on this side, it doesn't matter. So I go 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 twice. All right, and I have a 2 and a 5 left. I can't do any reducing there. So my coefficients are reduced as much as I can reduce them for, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to worry about this groupings here. And we were doing earlier, we were talking about how you actually have to subtract the exponents. So here, so it doesn't matter if it looks like this, like that, or it doesn't matter if it looks like this. There's still a division statement, so you still divide, okay? Or sorry, you still divide, but you still subtract the exponents. So x to the power of 6 and x to the power of 2, so I'm going to take these two exponents and subtract them, and 6 subtract 2 is 4, so this guy actually disappears, and now instead of having a 6 here, I actually have a 4, okay? Perfect, so then I'm going to look at I'm going to do the ones that kind of make sense right now. So I'm going to look at this one here. I'm going to do the x's over here. No, it's not a negative 2 because it's 6 subtract 2. So 6 subtract 2 equals 4. So right now it's not a negative 2. It's a positive 2 right there. I know what you're getting at, Jocelyn, but we're not, it's no for the 8. No, sorry, that's my dots. I gotcha. No, that's me dotting the 8, showing where I was pointing. So yeah, sorry for the confusion there. Okay. So here I got x to the power of 3, x to the power of lazy mathematician 1. So we have 2 left over. So I cross this guy off because he disappears. And I'm going to make that 3 disappear, and it's going to turn into a 2. All right. Now I'm going to continue on with my y's. Well, I have no y's here. There are no y's here. So what I'm going to do is see if I can start looking at what's happening on the other side. So I have a 7 here and I have a 5 here. So 7 subtract 5 is 2, so that disappears, and that's going to become a 2. Okay? So I think I've done all I can with that. So what I'm going to do is now take what I have left over, and I'm going to put it together and see if there's any more simplifying I can do. Okay? So on this side here, I have an x to the power of 4 with a y. Underneath, I have nothing, okay? So there's nothing there. I could put a 1 there, but again, we're lazy in math and we don't show that. I'm going to put the multiplication symbol here. I have a 2. I have x to the power of 2. I have y to the power of 2. On the bottom, I just have a 5. So now what I do is now I can start looking at the multiplying rule with exponents, okay? So with the multiplying rule of exponents, I take the exponents and I add them together, but I still have to remember I have coefficients. Okay, so I have the 2 on the top, so the 2 comes with it still. Now I look at the 4 and the 2 and I add those together, so I get x to the power of 6. I have a y to the power of 1 and y to the power of 2, so that becomes y to the power of 3. And on the bottom, the only thing left is a 5. So this becomes your magically awesome number answer. All right. All right, thumbs up if everyone is doing okay so far for questions 1, 2, and 3. And guess what? You're allowed to get them wrong. I don't mind if you get them wrong, but now you're kind of going, oh, I see. Okay, that's exactly what I want to happen, all right? If you are still struggling a little bit, maybe the next 2 questions, a couple more practice will do that. If not, maybe go back and do some of the worksheets again and try those out. Okay, good. All right, so question number 4, we had a negative on the outside. We had 2x to the power of 4, y to the power of 2, and all of that to the power of 0, 5x to the power of 3, and to the y. Okay, so the really first thing I would do, because I love this, because there is a 0 there, what does that mean that that whole entire thing in brackets is? Just the bracketed part, just a 1. Yeah, thanks, Jess. The negative still stays on the outside, okay? So I'm just going to show you what that meant. So that makes it really easy when you have an exponent to the power of 0. So then I'm just going to do this. Ooh, that's a 5. And guess what? So now we can do all of our multiplying and we're pretty much done. So it's negative 5 x to the power of 3 to the y. Okay? So 0 was kind of a trick, but it kind of makes the question super easy and quick to answer when it's like that. Okay. And last one, hopefully everyone's still good with me here. Okay, so it is the same question, but like Kayla noticed, it is actually a division 1. Okay, so here is what I'm going to do. What do we do when it's division? What was above the y? Nothing. Technically a 1, but we don't put that there. All right. When we do division, and it's a fraction, what is the technique that we discussed last day about, that we reviewed, what you do with that? I know some of you guys know this. Come on, what do you do when you divide a fraction? So 1 over 2. Divide by 5 over 4. What do I do? What do I do? You guys know. Nice try with the subtracting. What do you do with division? We're on number 5 right now. 4 was just done. Oh, you guys, you know this. It's blank and blank. You do a kiss and flip. Someone knew that last day. I can't remember who that was. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. So we do the kiss and flip. So this question, even though it looked exactly the same as question number 3, because we're kissing and flipping it, it's actually a totally new question. There's question number 4 for you, Jocelyn. You don't have to put that 1 here. I just did that to show somebody something. So yeah, you don't have to have that there. Okay. Good, good. Okay, so let's go back to question number 5. So because I know I have to kiss and flip and I don't want to have to write things out more often, I'm actually going to do that right now. So it's going to become 5x now is on the top, and the 8x to the power of 3, y to the power of 7 is now on the bottom. Okay? So same. So all we're going to be doing is trying to reduce this. And here's the thing. If you're looking at the coefficients, you can't actually reduce any of them. Nothing on the numerator can go into any of the denominators except for the 2. So this guy's going to stay and this is going to stay. So oops, I thought I changed to red. So I have a 1 here and I have a 4 there. Okay, so that's going to reduce, and that's all I can do as of this point. All right, so let's look at the x's. So I have 6 subtract 2, because that's what you do to exponents when they're dividing. Okay, so I see these two are dividing here. So I take 6 subtract 2 is 4, so I'm going to now make that a 4. The y's is, I have a y to the power of 1 here technically. Actually, let me finish all the x's first. I have x to the power of 1 here and x to the power of 3. So what I'm going to do is actually look at this guy here, and I'm going to look at this guy here, just to make the numbers a little bit better to work with. So if x to the power of 4 divided by, these are still divided, doesn't matter if it's on either side. So I'm going to subtract, so this guy actually disappears, and this now becomes a 1. So I'm not going to even have to put the 1 there, so I'm going to just leave it. So all of that now disappears. Okay? We're on question number 5. But remember, I kissed and flipped it already. I did that whole technique there. So I just didn't rewrite it. All right, so the x's are done, so I'm going to do the y's now. So I have y to the power of 1. There was no 1 there, but I'm just showing you. Y to the power of 5. So if I subtract, I now have, how do I want to show you guys this? I'll keep it here. I'll put the 4 down here. Okay? And then I think that is all I can do here. So now I'm going to rewrite. So I have the 5. I have x to the power of 2. Sorry, I forgot to cross that guy off. Okay? All right. So that's all I have on the top. On the bottom, I have the 4 and the 8, which turns to 32, those two coefficients. And the x's are all gone, and I'm left with these two. I'm left with this, and I'm left with this. Okay? And because we're multiplying, when we multiply, you add the exponents. So that becomes y to the power of 11. Okay? So if there's any parts here that you're struggling with a little bit, it might be worthwhile to take these questions and do them again. Look at some of the learning guide questions, do those again. Look at our notes that we did last time, do those again. The more you practice the stuff and you get a little quicker at it, the better it'll come. And also remember, Thursdays from 1 to 3, I do have math help time. Myself and Mrs. Millard are there to help you guys with math if you do need to have that as well. Yeah, so this is just review from last time, so we're just sort of moving along from there. I just wanted to make sure we had a handle on that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start the next part of the notes and looking at, where am I here? There we go. Looking at having a couple of different things happening with that. So we are now going to do that. What happened to the 8 and the 5 on the other part? The 8 and the 5 on the other part. So I multiplied I think what you're talking about is the coefficients. So I had a 1 here. Oh, sorry, that makes it dark. And I had a 5 here. When I multiplied, I got the 5 here. And then when I had the 4 here and I multiplied by the 8 there, so that turns to 32. So they got used, but they were multiplied with whatever was on the other side. Okay, so Alexis, maybe come in for help or try doing some questions again. Okay, so it's just a matter of reducing, or what you guys can do. Here, I will show you quickly. I want to make it bigger. What you guys could also do, and like I said, there's 2 ways of doing this, and I choose to do this way just because it reduces the number a little bit. But what you guys can do is do all the multiplying and do everything first and then worry about the reducing later. So if I had, you know what, let me rewrite this. Let me rewrite that question for you. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm just going to rewrite this. And I'm not going to flip it right now because some of you guys I think got lost with me flipping it without showing you it. Okay, so there's the question. And when you're doing this and it's division, it also means times by the reciprocal of the fraction that's after it. So this question actually turns out to be this. Okay, so the front stays the same because you don't flip the front. Okay, and then you flip, you multiply and flip it, do the reciprocal. So this is how I got that, just in case some of you guys were a little stuck on that. Okay. So now the option, the way I showed you earlier was just reducing the numbers as you go. This one I'm going to multiply and then reduce at the end. So I'm going to show you this technique. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply my exponents. So I get 10 on the top. Then I'm going to, because I'm multiplying, I'm going to add my exponents. Sorry, I said exponents are coefficients. I'm now going to add my exponents here. So I have 6 plus 1 is 7. And then I'm going to look at my y. I don't have a y over there, so I'm just left with y to the power of 1 there. Okay, so you can do that. Now I'm going to look at the bottom. And I have 8. I have to multiply my coefficients. I have 8 times 8, which is 64. And then I'm going to have to look at my x's. I'm going to add them together because the powers are multiplying together. So you add the exponents if they have the same base. So that becomes x to the power of 5. And you can do y, add those together as well. That's a 5 and a 7, so I get 12. So for some of you, this might be less confusing because there's less crossing off and everything. So now I'm left with the division statement. So I need to figure out what I do with my exponents. So I'm going to look at my coefficients first. And with the coefficients, 10 does not go evenly into 64. So therefore, I'm going to have a number on the top and a number on the bottom. So I need to figure out what number goes into both of them evenly. And because, if you remember, I think in grade 7, you guys learned the divisibility rules. If the number ends in an even number, like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 goes into it. So I'm going to divide that by 2 and I get 5. And I'm going to divide that by 2 and I get 32. And then I can see the top and the bottom number are done. I can't reduce those anymore. So then I'm going to look at my x's. And because we are dividing, I'm going to take the x exponents, the 7 and the 5, and I'm going to subtract them. Okay? So I'm going to kind of keep my answer going here. So I know the 5 is on the top, the 32 is on the bottom. Now I'm going to do my x's, and I go 7 subtract 5 is x to the power of 2. So that goes there. And then the y's. If I have y and then I have 12 on the bottom, that means I still have 11 on the bottom. And so it goes y to the power of 11 because you subtract them. Okay, so for some of you, and like I said, it doesn't bother me either way how you guys get your answer as long as you figure it out and you get it. So if you find it easier to do all that stuff first, that's great. The one reason I said that might be a little bit harder is just when you're looking at your coefficients, if they get really big, you can lose marks because you're not reducing it properly. So if you want to do that way, if you're the person that can see all the little reducings along the way and do that, and that's totally fine as well. Okay? So hopefully that helps that a little better with some of you. If not, like I said, go back and review, come in for help, that sort of thing. Okay. Excellent. Good, good, good. Okay. So let's do this. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get into looking at just a couple of other scenarios with exponents when they have the same base and such. Because there wasn't enough, there needs to be more. So if you want, we can call, it doesn't matter what you call this, you can continue from the notes that you were taking last time, start a new set, doesn't matter to me. Okay, so we have learned so far, if x to the power of 4, that is let's make that a 9 because that looks like a 9. You don't have to write this down. I'm just going to review a little bit here. And then we learned this. We learned that you add those two together and you get that. Okay, so we've learned what happens when you are multiplying and you have bases that are the same with exponents. We have learned that if you are dividing, that you actually subtract them. And you get x to the power of 7, okay? And then you've learned that x to the power of 0 is 1, all right? So that's just a review of the 3 basic kind of laws that we've learned. So I'm going to show you a new one, and this one is when you have an exponent, but then there's also an exponent right next to it, like literally on the other side of the bracket. It's like knocking on the door going, hello, can I come in? All right, so when you have that, you actually multiply the exponents together, okay? This does not count here because they're not next to each other. There's no knocking at the door. Here, the end's knocking at the door. It's like little pig, let me come in kind of thing. And then they multiply together, okay? So if I had, so try this one. So write this down. This is the new set of instructions. So I want you to try this one on your paper. So if I have a squared and I have that to the power of 3, what would you get for that? Good. So I'm going to show you the long way what this actually means. So this means, this power to the 3 means whatever is inside the brackets, I have to write 3 times and multiply. That's what exponents means. So it is actually saying take a squared, wow, that's a good A, times a squared times a squared. Okay, so it's saying write the base number 3 times. That's what it's saying. And you guys already learned this rule. You already learned when you're multiplying with the same base, you add those together. So that's the same as saying 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is a to the power 6. Okay? Or you just remember that new rule that we just got and you multiply those together, which gets you to the exact same answer. Okay? So this was just me showing you some of the work of how it actually does get to a to the power of 6. So they don't just make things up and go, let's just multiply those 2 numbers together. Okay? They actually totally make sense why they do that. Okay. Everyone with me on that one? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple questions to do. Question. I want you to do this one. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Silly. Silly. All right. A to the power of 3. So you guys are doing these questions. Okay? To the power of 2, and all of that's to the power of 5. Now, in this case, it's knocking at both people's doors because they're both in the brackets. The A and the B are both in the brackets. So exponent number 5 is knocking at the door of the A and the B. Okay? So tell me what you'd get for that. And then I want you to do this one as well. 2. I'm adding a coefficient, so let's see if you guys can think about what's been happening with the coefficient prior to this and see if you guys can get that. So try those couple questions. Okay, so let's see if we're all on the same page here. So this 5 is knocking on the door of that one, and it's knocking on the door of this one. So it's going to be A, and they're multiplying. Don't add, don't add, don't add. So that's going to be A to the power of 15 and B to the power of 10. Yay! If you got it, okay? Now this one, who wants to venture and see if they got this one right if you want to try to type it in? You don't have to type it in if you don't want to. If you just want to go, I don't know. But if you think you know what it is, okay, I got 8 to the power 6. Oh, I got some variety. I like it. This is awesome. Okay. And guess what? If you didn't get it, your brain is going to be like, it's going to be like, I'm learning. This is awesome. Okay. So long way, just because there's a few different answers, I'm going to show you. It means this. Oh, stop it. It means this times, oh, I'm touching my pad here. And that's what this means. It means take, oh, silly. It means take what's in those brackets and do it 3 times, multiply it, exponent of 3, cube it, okay? So that's what that's actually meaning. So when you put this together, I got 2 times 2 times 2. Yes, I do. That's an 8er, okay? That also is the same thing as 2 cubed. So if you don't see it in the long form, it still means the same thing. There we go. We can see all that. Okay? So it also means that. And then we have a squared, a squared, a squared. They're multiplying together, so we add them. 2, 2, 2. And there's your answer. Or you just multiplied that together. So both ways, shortcut way, a long ways gets the answer. I know, mine is blown. Okay. All right. So that is that law, which is pretty cool. Okay. I'm going to give you another question. I can't wait to see the answer to this one. A, that's an A, to the power of 3. B squared. Go. What you get, what you get. Miss Max a little tricky on this one. Okay. So guess what? That's the answer. Why could I not do anything to that question? Yes, you knew it. That's awesome. Why couldn't I do anything to that? What makes that one different than all the other ones we've been doing? Yes, exactly. Thanks, Belle. The bases are different. I can't, the bases have to be the same. This is an A and this is a B. Okay, so they always have to be the same. So I just gave you guys a little tricky one. Okay, but we're going to use that same question, but we still can, I'm going to add a little bit to it and you're going to be able to do something now. Okay, I'm not going to be tricky anymore. Okay, so the question is a to the power of 3, b to the power of 4, and all of that is to the exponent of 4. Go. I'll give you guys 1 minute to get that answer. Well, less than that. Okay. I was just talking with Merle here going, oh my gosh, he's learned this stuff a long time ago and he has to sit here and listen to all of this and yeah, I'm like, he's got to be bored. Okay, but math exciting for you though, because this is like brand new. Okay, so this, we're going to do it, now I'm not going to show you the long way. Okay, if you want to do it the long way, definitely can. If you want to take a to the power 3 over b to the power 4 and write that 4 times and then do it that way, that's fine. Okay, or boosh, right there. That's a to the power of 12, because remember we multiply, and b, boosh, to the power of 16. Now, is there, I'm going to do this here, is there actually an exponent in front of this, or a coefficient in front of this? Is there a coefficient? Yeah, there is. But remember, we're lazy in math. We don't put that 1 there. So technically, I'm going to show you this. Technically, this is 1a to the power of 3 and 1b to the power of 4. And this exponent 4 actually does work with that. And we saw that in the previous question. But 1 to the power of 1 million is still 1. So that's why we don't put that number there, because it doesn't do anything. So that's why we don't worry about that at all. So that's why that's not, that's an A, and that's a B. Okay, so that's why there's no coefficients there. So, okay, all right. So what we're going to get into now. So that's the next power law. What we're going to do is learn about a following power law, and this guy is going to be the focus for the next little while, because. In math, they like things a certain way, obviously, and they don't like having negative exponents if we can avoid it. So when we're working with these negative exponents, you have to do a certain pattern and certain technique with them. So I'm going to show you, now bear with me, I'm going to show you the background information of how this actually works, okay? So, but bear with me, okay? I know this is going to seem weird. A to the power of 4. We know that means, or sorry, a to the power of 4, what am I talking about? 2 to the power of 4, we know that's 16, okay? Now I'm going to go down to 2 to the power of 3, and when I do that, that's the same thing as saying 16 divided by 2, which is 8, okay, which is true in the statement. The next one, we know the answer is going to be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And that is 2 squared. Okay, this is nothing's new here, but I'm showing you this pattern to show you where this negative stuff comes. This next one is going to be 4 divided by 2, which is 2, which is 2 to the power of 1, which we know 2 to the power of 1 means just itself. Okay, this next one, I'm working sideways here, work with me. 2 divided by 2 is 1, which we have learned is 2 to the power of 0. Okay, so you guys have all kind of gotten that, and we're good. So now we're going to get into the trickies where it's going to turn into fractions and everything. So if I have, I'm just going to rewrite this here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Oopsies. Oopsies. I don't want a big eraser because I keep erasing everything. Okay, there we go. So we got that from going 2 divided by 2. So now if I keep going with my pattern, I'm going to take the 1 and divide it by 2. That doesn't create a whole number, that creates a fraction. And we prefer keeping it in fraction. I know I can keep it as a decimal, but we're going to keep it as a fraction. So the answer is 1 divided by 2, or 1/2. That is 2 to the power of -1. Do you see what's happened with my exponents? I went 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then to -1. Okay, so now what we're going to do is continue. So now this next answer is going to be 1/2 divided by 2. Okay, and we know from earlier, yes, kiss and flip, sorry I didn't do that properly, kiss and flip, so that'd be 1/2 times, and I flip this because remember that's 2/1, because we're lazy in math, we don't put it. So when I kiss and flip that, I get the actual answer is 1/4, and that is 2 to the power of -2. So what I'm showing here for you guys is how this is going to work with the negative exponent. What the negative exponent does, it takes the number and does the reciprocal of it, okay? So if I had, let's do 3 to the power of -2, what this negative does, it tells me to take the reciprocal of that base. So that turns into 1/3 to the power of 2. The negative, as soon as I flip it, the negative's gone. The negative's done its job. It's like, whoo, out of here, okay? So then I get 1 to the power of 9. So that's what happened here. So this question, 2 to the power of -2, meant I took 1, flipped it, found its reciprocal. The negative leaves the building, and it's now 2 to the power of 2, which got us the answer, or yeah, and 1/4. Okay, so I wanted to show this to you so you guys could see where this all came up from, because I know a lot of you guys get shown some math and go, and we just say, just learn this, just figure it out. And we don't show you the background information of where all that tedious stuff came from. That's where it comes from. So now you could do it the long way, how I just showed it, or you can believe me when I say that when it's a negative exponent, all you have to do is do the reciprocal and then finish the math from there. Okay, so hopefully, that I mean, put a 1 on top. Yeah, and just flip it. Well, it depends, because I'm going to show you, Belle, in a second that it doesn't always mean it all. Actually, the reason why this one works that way, because remember we're lazy in math. Okay, so it's actually saying this. Because remember, 3 is a whole number, and whole numbers are actually over 1, but we're lazy in math and we don't put that there. So when you do the reciprocal of it, it actually does become 1/3. So that's why that shows up. Okay, so I hope that cleared that up for you, Belle. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to show you guys another little thing here for you. This is like show and tell. I'm just showing you stuff. This is like exciting. You just have to watch and let me show. I would recommend writing these notes down though, guys. I really hope you're doing that, because when you get stuck or anything like that, it's always good to look back. You don't want to always have to come back to this video and find where I started talking about it and listen to me babble like I am now and go, oh my gosh, I have to listen to her talk until she gets to the part I want to talk about, okay? So it's nice if you're writing it down, then you can see that. All right, so this question, 2 to the power 3 divided by, oh, that's not right. It's Mac, silly. 2 to the power 5, okay? So we know that we subtract exponents when we're dividing, and they have the same base. So we have 2 to the power of -2, okay? I'm going to show you how this side will prove that this is correct. So what this means is 3 2's are being divided by 5 2's that are multiplied together. And we've learned to try to reduce when we can. 2 goes into 2 once and once. I'm not even going to put the ones there, because why would I do that? That's a waste of time. Those go into each other, and those, oops, I didn't put enough 2's there. All right, and that goes into that. So all I'm left with are these 2 2's that are multiplying together on the bottom. So when I finish that question, I have only 1's on the top, and I have 2 times 2, which turns into 4. So if we use our rule, 2 to the negative 2, if we lose that rule, this means flippage. I flip it, put the power there, the exponent back there with no negative because I flipped. And if you want, you can think of this way. The negative becomes the line. Ooh, Miss Mac, that's deep. I know. So that negative can mean that you actually make it into that little line. And then to continue, that becomes 1 over 4. So this area here, what I just did there for you, is showed you the long way again, okay? So that's proving that when you subtract the exponents, you get the negative 2 and it still all works out in the end, okay? All right. That's that. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 5 questions to do. I'm going to insert a break at this time as well. So I'm going to give you guys, let's see if I give you guys about 10 there, 10-minute break. I'm going to give you guys 20 minutes, okay? 20 minutes to complete these 5 questions, and then that's when you can go pee-pee and go have some water and do all that fun stuff. All right, so here are your questions. So I'm going to get you guys to write these up. All right, question number 1. So just write all of these down now. Don't worry about doing them right now. You can do them after you get them all written up. 7 to the power of negative 2. Question number 2 is 4 to the power of negative 5 and 4 to the power of 3. Question number 3. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Question number 1, question number 2, question number 3. Question number 3 is 2 to the power of negative 3 times 5 to the power of 2. And then question number 4, actually, you know what, I'm going to leave some space because I think I can do the answers on this page if I do that. And if I do question number 4, negative 5 to the power of negative 4. That one's tricky. I want you guys to try that one and see how you do. And you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. It's all good, people. It's all good. Okay, and the last one is 3 to the power of negative 3, 3 to the power of 5, and 3 to the power of negative 6. Okay? So write all those questions down, do the work for it, finish it off, have a little bit of a break, and I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Yeah, so Angelina, so that last question here, you do that step, and then you do this step. You can skip this one if you understand that that's what that means, if you understand that's how that turns out. But the negative means you find the reciprocal. I don't even remember spelling reciprocal. I can't even spell that. I can't even remember how to spell that. You find the reciprocal of it, and then you finish it off with whatever has to happen. So you had to do the squaring there. So hopefully that's good. Okay, any other questions before I send you guys off on yours? Okay, so Jocelyn, what are you confused by, my dear? The one I was just showing, or what you have to do with how to do the negatives? It just means doing reciprocal, which means flip whatever the number was. So everyone else, if you're good, you guys can go off. You guys can start doing the questions and then have your break. The rest of you, if you want to watch, you totally can. So I'm just going to help Jocelyn here. So Jocelyn, this question here, 3 to the power of negative 3, okay? This means, this negative right here, that means find the reciprocal of it. So if I'm trying to find the reciprocal of it, that means I flip it. So what I showed earlier was 3 is technically 3 over 1. And this, it's trying to want us to find the negative 3 of it, okay? So when you flip that, it becomes 1 over 3, and this attaches to it. But because we did the reciprocal, the negative disappears, and then you just finish the math. Okay, does that make more sense, Jocelyn? You need to be more specific than saying what, because I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, my dear. What's the part that you're struggling with there? Don't know how to explain what I'm not. Oh, okay. I'll show you another example and hopefully it works out. Actually, let me show you this. If I had 3 over 2 to the power of negative 2. Okay, so I have a fraction that I'm putting into the negative 2. This negative right here means I have to flip the fraction. Okay, I have to find the reciprocal of it. So when I flip it, it's 2 over 3. Does that make sense? Yes, once you flip it, it turns positive. So when I highlighted this negative here, that means to flip it. And I was kind of showing you that, kind of make it as if it's that line for the fraction. So here, this negative it just gets replaced by the line. You flip it as soon as you do that, and the negative's gone. So then now, all I have to do is square those numbers now. So does that make sense? Okay. And then your answer would be 4 over 9. Okay, so is that good? Yay! Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so go ahead. I'll put the questions back up. There we go. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, welcome back everybody. Hopefully everyone is here, ready to go. So again, this is just practice. We'll see how this goes. If you're not understanding, hopefully you can watch and see how I do it, and then you can understand from there. If not, when we have more practice, you can start working on that. Look back at some of your notes and see if you can get that. Again, reminder, Thursdays 1 to 3, there's always math help with that, okay? Okay, so thanks Alexis. Okay, so let's just watch to see how this goes, and then ask me questions along the way with each particular question. And I'm going to try not to go too fast because I know that is a problem with me. So, okay, so this one, right away, because there is a negative there, that tells me I have to flip it. I have to find the reciprocal of it, okay? So because it technically is 7 over 1, when we flip it, it becomes 1 over 7. Now the 2, the negative 2, it's not negative 2 anymore, it's just 2 because I flipped it. Like I said, it washes its hand and it's like, I'm happy, I'm out of there, I've done my job, I flipped that guy, right? So it's almost like you did a karate chop and like karate chopped him and then flipped the number over, and now he's happy, he won the fight, and then he's off, right? So that's what that negative does, but the 2 still carries along with it, okay? So because of that, the answer becomes 1 over 49. Okay, so try to always think of little things like I just did there, like kind of find a way of going, how can I remember that the negative disappears? Oh, well, he got in a fight with the 7, he kicked him and he flipped him over, and then he leaves because he either doesn't want to get in trouble, the guy is out for the count and doesn't want to get in trouble that way, or he's done, he's won the fight and he wants to leave. Like, come up with some kind of little story to help you remember that. So anything works with that. Okay, everyone okay with that? Any questions on that one? Are we all good? Okay. All right, so the next question is, we are multiplying technically here, so we go back to the old rule. The old rule is you add these little bad boys up, okay? So I get 4 to the power, so if I go negative 3 plus 3, it's negative 2, okay? So always remember, thinking about the negative, no, let's use this color. Negative, I kind of did this with my students when I taught them integers. They're not on the same team. One's on the negative team and one's on the positive team. And when they're on different teams, they fight each other. They go for a battle, okay? And when they fight each other, whoever has the most people wins. And so the team that wins is the negative team because he has more people and he wins by 2 people. So that's sort of the analogy that I give with that. Yeah, I know, Alexis. Yeah. So if you need to remember, you can do that as well, okay? Or another thing, and Alexis, this is new, I just started doing this. Oopsies, 1 second. Okay. 5 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 positives. Cross them out and see what you have left over. So if I cross them out, 1 negative with 1 positive, 1 negative with 1 positive, and 1 negative with 1 positive, that leaves me with 2 negatives, right? So then my answer is negative 2. So there's a couple different ways. Do whatever technique works best for you. Doesn't matter to me. And because I haven't taught you guys prior to this, I'm just going to throw in some of those little tricks that I know in the past. So do the fight scene. They're on different teams. They fight. Whoever has the most player wins, and that team wins by that many players that they have extra. Or you can do that technique or whatever works for you. Okay? So now getting back to the awesome reciprocal. So again, that's 4 over 1. When I flip it, it becomes 1 over 4. The negative runs out of the room, disappears, but the 2 stays. Okay, and then you just finish the math. 4 squared is 16. Okay. Moving on, unless I see anything, any comments or anything, I'll just move on from there. Okay, so this guy, what happens with the other 4? They're the same bases, so when they're the same base, you can combine them. So that's what we've been doing this whole time. So when we've been doing a to the power of 3 times a to the power of 2, it's a to the power of 5. They're the same base, so you join them together, and then you have to do that law with the exponents. So you're simplifying it, okay? All right, so next question. So these 2 guys, we're multiplying again, so I have to add the exponents. Actually, So actually, no, sorry, I'm going to change this. We can't add the exponents. Why can't we add the exponents? Why can't we add the exponents? La la la. They're different bases. Yeah. Good. Okay, you're paying attention. That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to focus on, let's do a different color so you guys can see. No, I said different color. We're going to focus on this one, okay? Because it says 2 to the power of negative 3. We can't combine the base. We can't combine the exponents or do anything to that, do any of the laws because the bases are different. So now we have to try to answer this as best as we can by doing the math, okay? So this question right here, I do the reciprocal. So it becomes 1 over 2 to the power of 3. And it's multiplying to 5 to the power of 2. We can simplify that right now and make it a 25. And because we have fractions here, I'm just going to show this to you, but you don't have to do this. Remember, the whole number is the same as a fraction over 1. Okay? So for some of you, it might be easier to see that that's what's actually happening there. But if you guys know that the whole number is the numerator and it's timesing by the numerator spot, then that's totally fine. But if you want to put it over a fraction, put over 1 just to make it easier so you can see the numerator tops and see the denominator bottoms, that's awesome as well. Okay? So if I do this, I get 25 on the top, and then 2 to the power of 3 is 8. And there is your answer for that one. So that one might have stumped some of you, which is awesome. I have no problem with that. If it stumped you, hopefully you can see what's happening there. So does anyone have any question about that one at all? So again, because they're not the same base, if that stumped you, if that got you right away, then that's totally good because then you're going to notice that next time. So then once you can't do any of that shortcut little stuff, you have to see if you can solve each kind of separately. Okay? Wait, what's up, Caitlin? What's going on? Why is 2 to the power 3? Oh, because this is 2 times 2 times 2, right? And 2 times 2 is a 4. We might need to bring that up a little bit there, yeah. And then you times it by 2, you get 8. Yeah, I knew you knew that. Okay, I might need that space in a second. I'll erase it when I need to. All right, I'm going to move on if everyone is okay there. Okay. So this question here is now I'm going to, now remember when we were talking about exponents, we were talking about how the negative, because it's not in brackets with the 5, because it's not this, the negative does not go down with the 5. It doesn't go to the denominator spot with the 5. So I'm going to keep it on the outside, not forgetting about it. I'm going to flip this because this bad negative just kung fu chopped me, and now the 4 goes there. So we have -1, 5 to the power of 4, and then we just do the math. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 5 is 25, so it's, here I'll show you. So I just do kind of that. Most of us would have to do a calculator. Some of us, like, the more you do math, you start getting some things memorized, so you start memorizing what some of these answers are. So not forgetting the negative in the front, it's 1 over 625. The negative can also go in the numerator spot, but a lot of times you'll see it sitting in front of the fractional line. That's just a way that they do it in math there. Good, Caitlin, nice. Okay. So I hope everyone understood this whole negative part, that it was not like this. It's not like that. So because it's not like that, the negative doesn't go down on the bottom. And if it did go on the bottom, because it's to the power of 4, the answer would stay positive. So you would definitely, it would affect the answer if you brought the negative down. It actually would change it. Okay. And the last question. Okay, we do have common bases. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so we can actually now do all the little tricky things. So because we're multiplying, I'm going to add them together. So it's going to be -3. I'm going to put in brackets just so I can see, separate it, plus 5 plus the -6. So that's what we have to do for this question. Okay? So now it's just a matter of doing the math, making sure you're doing the negatives correctly. Some people might actually change my color. Some people might just do the negatives first and combine them. -3 and -6, they're on the same team. They're on the same team. They're both on team negative, so they're going to join forces, so that's going to be -9. So if I have -9 and +5, different teams. So 3 to the power of -4, because that -9, this all adds up to -9. And then if I add on 5 different teams, so I get -4. Okay? Now, that's not it. We're not done. Okay? So I'm just going to erase just a couple things here. I'm going to get rid of this stuff here so I can just move over a bit. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to make it so that we don't have that. We have to finish the question because it's really not done at this point. So that negative kung fu chops the 3 onto the ground into the denominator spot, and the 4 goes with it. We finish it off. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. There's your marvelous answers. I'm going to circle the answers so you can see them. So anybody coming and looking at this screen will be going, what are you doing? But guess what? You guys know what you're doing because you're awesome. Makes sense while I'm doing it. So hopefully that is working out for you guys, that you're grasping that a little bit. Can you please go back to 4? Okay, number 4. What would you like with number 4? Or zoom into number 4. Yeah, could you please zoom into number 4? Okay. Do you just need to see it a little clearer, or do you have a question there, Caitlin? Can you do another one quickly, like 5? I got a bit lost. Yes. I can. We're just going to look at number 4 because Caitlin's more important than you, Belle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She asked first. You just need to see it? Okay, perfect. Okay. So I will give another question. Are you good, Caitlin? Because I'm going to have to go to another screen here, so I just want to make sure we're good. Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go to a new screen, and I'm going to show that same kind of question. So it was the same bases, so it doesn't matter what base you choose to use. So I'm going to use 2, and let's see, I want a negative number. So let's go -10, and then I'm going to multiply it by 2 to the positive 4, and I'm going to multiply it by 2 to the positive 2, 3, let's say 3. Okay? So some of you, if you need extra practice on this, write this down. If some of you just want to be watching, that's fine. If you want to zone out for the next minute, that's totally fine as well. Okay, make sure you zone back in. Okay, same basis. Okay, same basis. So that means what I do is follow whatever rule is happening. So because we're multiplying all these together, I am going to add, and add those together. So that will be -10, just putting a bracket so the negative is easier, +4 plus 3. Okay? So now I add those together, so I get 2, and when I go, I'm going to bring this over here so you guys can see this. So I'm going to do -10, and I'm going to join the 4 and the 3. They're on the same team, they're on the team positive, so they join forces, and we end up getting 7, right? So now these guys are on different teams, so the winning team is going to be the one that has the most people, and they win by 3. So this is now becoming to the power of -3. Okay, are we so far so good there, Belle? Just want to make sure you're good. Okay, good. So now what I want to do is I need to deal with this -3. I need to start finishing that question up. So the negative means I flip my number, my base number, I flip it, and I put the 3 back, and the negative has turned into this line. So the negative's still kind of there, just kind of melds into that line and kind of hiding away from trouble and stuff like that. And okay, so does that make sense, Belle? That part? Perfect. Okay, and then it's just math now, right? So this means 1 over 2 times 2 times 2, because that's 2 to the power 3, which means 1 over 8. Okay, so is that better, Belle? Does that make sense? Excellent. All right. Okay. So we are going to, I'm going to give you guys questions to do, and they're going to be, I'm going to give you guys some more time to do some questions. I just wanted to come back and see where you're at with some of this. I'm going to give you a few more to do. I'm going to give you some time to do that, but no break associated unless you do finish the work ahead of time. Because I think, oh, you know what? I'm going to show you, yeah, I'm going to show you this one first. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, new page, new page, new page. Okay, so if I have this question, so I would definitely be writing down with me, please and thank you. If I have this looks totally complicated because the negative's on the bottom, and you know that we've been dealing with the negative with a whole number, which is technically in the numerator spot. So now we're going to look at this a little differently because we're going to try to deal with it where it is right now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change it into this type of question. So does everyone agree that that is the same thing? Is everyone cool with that, that's exact same question? Okay, good. So that's the same question, but all I did was take it from fractional form and just put it into the old-fashioned with the division sign, okay? So now, if I have it this way, now you guys can, now this looks normal to you, right? Now it's in the whole number and the negative, and now you know what to do. So now what I have to do, the 5 stays, and now I'm going to keep the division. I'm going to do the karate chop flip and put it to the power of 2. Okay, so that's what we've just been working on, is taking that whole number, flipping it, and then putting that exponent there. Okay, so, but we have this guy here, right? So that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the kiss and flip. Are you guys with me? You guys get that? So now we did this, we just did this, we converted this bad boy into its Kung Fu chop reciprocal. And now I got to deal with this division thing, because that's just gross. Let's just get this division out of here, and let's work with multiplying. So remember the kiss and flip? I changed this to multiply, and I flip this. Do I need to put the 1 on the bottom? No. So I'm going to erase it, because you don't have to put over 1. It's a whole number. So we just, in lazy math, we don't do that. Okay? So now, look at how awesome my question is. It's amazing. All right, so it's just 5 times 9, which is 45. Okay, so it's super awesome. Okay, so that is dealing with having the negative in the ugly spot, kind of having it in the division statement. Okay, so I'm going to give you a question to do on right now, just to see how you do. I need a different color. Okay, so I want you guys to do this question here. I want you to do 8 times 3 to the negative 2. Okay, so I want you guys to do that right now. Take about 30 seconds, finish that off. If you know if you can do it shortcut way without doing it, sort of showing all this work, you can. I don't need you to show me the work or anything like that. I'm just doing that to help you understand. Yeah, that's basically it, Val. You try to get rid of, not necessarily the subtraction, you try to get rid of the negative, right? So you try to get rid of the negative, you do the flipping, and then the division, we don't like it, so we do the kiss and flip and make it so it's multiplying, and then just make it so it's a little easier to work with. Yeah, all of it's simplifying. We're all doing all these little techniques to simplify everything. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so this one. They're not the same basis, so I can't do anything with any of the exponents, so I have to treat them sort of separate entities. So, let's stay with green. The 8 stays, but now I'm multiplying. Special reciprocal, little Kung Fu guy. So, kick him over. He runs away, disappears, hides, whatever you want to say, and that goes there. And then it's 8 times 1 over 9, and we know that we multiply across like so. Wow, I didn't do that. It just made a really long line. I actually wasn't even drawing there. So it becomes 8 over 9. Some of us know right away as soon as we see this step here. Some of us know as soon as we see that step here that the 8's on the top already. Some of us already can see that. If you can see that and kind of skip that middle step, you totally are welcome to do that. If you need to draw that extra step so you can visually see what's happening, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay? All right, so here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys some questions to work on. I am going to give you, what time are we at? We're about 10 after. I will give you 10 minutes to do the questions. We'll come back. I'll go over, just give you the answers, and if you need me to go over one of the questions, I will go over it. And then you'll have, I'm going to make some of the assignments that are going to be due for Wednesday, that you need to work on before Wednesday. I'm going to get those live so you guys can work on those as well on the Math Moodle site. Okay, so let's move that bad boy up. Let's do a new page. So here are the questions I would like you to do. Again, write them down and you can do them. Number 1. 3 to the power of negative 4 over 2. Number 2. 5 over 4 to the power of negative 3. Remember, always see if you can move things. I know it looks so weird. I know it does. But just kind of go, okay, just step back for a second, go, it's negative. If it's negative, what do I do with that 3? Oh yeah, I got to put it on the bottom, okay? So just do stuff like that, okay? And if it's on the bottom, how do I get it to the top, okay? And sort of look back at some of the notes that we did. So you guys got this, just kind of slow it down, go step by step. Don't look at the big picture, look at some tiny things in there. 6 to the power of negative 3, 5 to the power of negative 2, and let's see, do I want to give you guys that one? Yeah, I'll give you this one. I'm just using A, so you guys can see it doesn't always have to be a number. It can be a variable that we don't know. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys those 4 questions. I'll give you guys till 20, no, I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll give you guys 5 minutes. So I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. I'm still going to be here for chatting if you have a question to help with these. Okay, go ahead, guys. we're back. Okay, so I'm going to put the answers on first. Okay, I'm going to put the answer on, and I want to see how, like, just in your head going, oh, I'm not in close, I got to work on that, and just maybe ask me some questions. So this answer is 1 over 162. This one is 320. This one is 25 over 216. Definitely get yourself a scientific calculator if you don't have one yet. Okay, it's gonna come in handy. And this is a to the power of 4c over b. Okay, so those are the answers. Does anybody want me to go over a particular question? I have a feeling I'm going to go over all of them. Okay, so that's the part. They're not the same basis, so I can't do anything, so I have to work with them individually. Okay, so this means I have to put it on the bottom. So I'm going to flip it. So the 1 goes on the top, the 3 is on the bottom with the 4. Negative disappears, but I still have something in that denominator spot. Okay? And remember, the dot means multiplying 2. I can put in brackets or I can put a multiplying. It doesn't really matter. And then you just do the math from here, right? So you get 1 over 2 times 81, and then that's how you get the 1 over 162. Okay? So again, like I said, just look at the individual parts going, okay, well, I can combine the bases, so that means I have to look at each section on its own and do that separately. Okay? So hopefully that's okay with that one. Number 4. Sorry, what number was that? Yeah, okay. I hope you guys, that was a -1. That looks really poor on number 4. We're on number 4 there. Sorry. So yeah, this guy, the A, don't do anything to him. Keep him on the top. There's no negative exponent, but the B is negative. So that means I have to put the B on the bottom to the power of 1, but again, lazy math, you don't put that, and the C's positive, and that's it. So it's just a matter of moving that one guy, because it's a negative. So that's all this is right now, is that with the negative exponents, it's just moving it to a different spot so that it becomes positive, really. So does anyone need me to go over 2 or 3 with you at all? Okay, number 2. So number 2, again, this goes back to the exact same question we did in one of our notes, is I'm just going to rewrite it and make it look in a form that makes more sense to me, okay? Then I'm going to do the I'm going to flip this over so it's no longer a negative exponent, right? And they're not the same basis, so like I said, we're doing each individually. The 5's done, I don't have anything to do there. So now I've dealt with this negative. The negative's now gone, so now I have to deal with this silly division. So I'm going to do the kiss and flip. So when I kiss and flip, I do that. The 1 is on the bottom, can stay there all it wants. And then when you do the math, you get 16 times 4 again, because 4 times 4 is 16, and you get 64. And then you just do the math from there. Okay, so that's how you get that guy. And number 3, so the 6, I'm flipping it. The 1 goes there, 6 on the bottom, 3 there. Okay, so I dealt just with that 6. Okay, now I'm going to look at the 5. The 5's on the bottom. Guess what I do? If I move him up to the top, he becomes positive. So that's going to become 5 with the power of 2 on the top. And then you just do the math. So you get 5 squared is 25, 6 to the power of 3 is 216. So yeah, just deal with them separately and then move them bottom, move it to the top, depending where the negative is, and that will get you to your answer. Okay? So I have on Moodle opened up just some lesson-y things if you want to refer back to some lessons there. I will post this on there as well. And then there's 2 little worksheets I want. One is sort of a note one, and you can kind of skip through and do whatever you need to do there. But one of them is a worksheet 2, lesson 2 worksheet, something like that. I think that's what it's worded. You need to do. So this one here It's sort of like a note-taking one, and I wasn't going to use it or anything, but it does have some more practice questions for you on here, and I think some of you could use just a little bit more there. So you can do whatever you want with that one. This is the one that you need to hand in, and it looks like a lot of questions, and it is. So I'm only going to make you do half of each section. So number one, you only have to do half, and you guys get to pick and choose which ones you want to do. So you can do all the ones on the left, all on the right. You can randomize. You can pick the bottom half. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And that goes for all of them. Okay? So all of the questions. I'm in a giving mood today. Yes, I am. That's what I do. So I'm only going to make you do half of each section. Okay? If you feel that you are needing to do a little bit more than that, then go for it. Just do some more practice. That's absolutely fine. Okay, but you only have to do half. And there is a hand in for that you guys need to do. Okay. Where did the one come from in question number 3? Because I flipped this. When I flipped him, the 1 goes on the top and the 6 went on the bottom. So that's where the 1 came from. Now you got it. Okay. So you're going to have a quiz next day. Not on this. Don't stress, don't stress. I need to see where you're at with the previous stuff. So I want to see where you are at with this stuff, okay? With the stuff that we were doing previous to this. Where is that little note thing I did? I can't even remember where I did that. Yeah, so just with all the stuff that you've done up before that, where you're adding the exponents, when you're subtracting the exponents, and when the exponent is 0. Okay, so I just want to see where you're at, how your understanding is going with that. Okay, so before we go, I want to show this to you. Oh, so so Merle, just so you know, I can't go to my slide. This is this new laptop. I can't pick a slide and go to it. It's really crazy. Okay. So here's a little thing. It says, Sunny, I've decided to prove to the teacher that I'm no slacker. My teachers and my friends are going to be dumbfounded. My grades are going to soar. Stand back. I'm going to crack open this textbook. Where's the drum roll? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some study hints. I'm going to go through it quickly. Class is getting to the end, but I've also posted them on the math site. Okay. I think some of you maybe need some hints. Maybe some of you don't know the hints. Maybe you can just use a refresher. Either way, I think it's really important that you guys have some of the things that we know about how to study. Then, oh, good, Caitlin, that's awesome. Then people that don't. So these I actually found on Facebook. I think it was like Wednesday night. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are awesome. So I put some of these in here. So there is an app you can download called PhotoMatch, and you can actually put in some of the math problems, and it'll solve it for you, and it'll show you the steps to do it. So when you get to that stage where you're stuck or you want to double check or anything, go and do that, okay? Obviously, that's not for tests and quizzes or anything like that, but yeah. And I will, Belle. Just give me a sec. Most likely to remember things that are written in blue than black, and I think also as well, this goes with me and everything, the more you can add to it in terms of color or anything like that, or visuals, it does help you as well. So try to, when you're taking notes, maybe have a couple different colors and have a pencil and a pen showing differences. Maybe have all your examples with a different color. So when I'm doing mine, I always do my examples with a red pen so that it kind of draws my attention to it. So keep that in mind. Peppermint stimulates the brain to concentrate. So I'm giving you permission to have candy canes all the time. No, I'm just kidding. So that's just something interesting. So having maybe a scent in the room, having peppermint gum or something like that. So, but I'm not, I'm just joking about the candy canes. I do have some in my room though. If you guys want to pop by, I can give you guys a candy cane. Peppermint tea, yes, that will help for sure. While studying, pretend you have to teach that. So when you're trying to actually teach to somebody, it actually works a little bit more in your brain. You're talking out loud or you're figuring out little tricks. And when you start doing that, it's actually helping you learn as well, which is kind of cool, right? And yes, Emily, I do have candy canes in my room right now. Okay. Word hippo, not necessarily for math, but maybe in science or with English when this is word or whatever. If you're like, okay, it's this word, so I'm gonna tip my tongue, I know it starts with the letter H and it means something like this. This apparently will help you. I haven't tried it out, but apparently it will help. When you're doing a presentation, and this is actually, I was so glad to see this, when you have those backgrounds and you type in the word and you change the colors and no color makes it like stand out, even white and black doesn't work. This apparently is saying if you have white text and you put a black outline, you can actually see them better in there. So I thought that was kind of cool. Again, I think most of you know this, do little blips of studying. Don't do a cramming session. Cramming does not help your brain. It actually makes things a lot worse in there. It jumbles it up and makes it all confused. So do little spurts. So today, do a little bit of, maybe do 10 minutes of studying for the stuff that we've done. Not today's stuff, right? Because that's not on the quiz. But do previous studying 10 minutes. You know, maybe come back tonight and do another 10 minutes. Tomorrow, increase it to 15 minutes and 15 minutes. And doing that will definitely help you get stuff into your long-term brain, which is so important. This one is my friend. I like this one. Eating chocolate when studying helps your brain retain information. See, I know chocolate is amazing. You just got to get it onto one of those food groups, you know, so got to get it there. The quiz we're going to do, the quiz is next class, and we're going to do it one attempt. But like that being said, I do retest if I feel that there is some reasoning behind or if there's something that's missed or something like that. Yes, chocolate flavored celery would be, or celery flavored like chocolate. All right. Writing things out is equivalent to hearing it 7 times, right? So that's why you write out math. That's why you write out languages and do all that stuff. It's really important. All right, stick to a schedule. You can actually train your brain and it will then get used to certain things. So the more you do something, like even just walking, the more you're walking down a path, the more you wear it down and stuff, and it does that in your brain as well with the neurotransmitters and the neural pathways and everything like that. So if you train your brain that so let's say class ends at 11:30, you go have lunch, let's say every day at 1 o'clock. On Mondays and Wednesdays, all those days at 1 o'clock, you go and you study. Your brain will start picking up on that pattern. And at some point, I don't know, everyone's probably going to be quicker than others or take longer than others or whatever, but everyone's going to be different. But at some point, your brain is now going to start going at 1 o'clock on Monday and Wednesday. It's going to like start clicking in and it's going to get engaged and it's going to start preparing itself for what you're going to do because it knows that that's work time. So, and this is true, there's studies on this and everything. So get to a schedule and start doing that so that, because it does set your brain and your brain is then more in capacity to learning, okay? So that's super cool. Yeah, exactly, so picking times. Make sure you attend all classes before tests and quizzes because I give you hints sometimes or go over things like I just did today. I went over work. Make sure you know what it's on. So I've told you it's on the adding exponents, subtracting exponents, and then the 0 exponent. Make sure you're reviewing. Sleep, so important. That's when your brain rejuvenates itself. That's when it reprocesses and gets things all ready to go and fired up. It needs that time to do that. You need to make sure you get that sleep. And food. That's where your energy comes from. That's where your body is functioning. It needs that food energy. So you need to have those breakfast meals and at least have some food in your system. Noise to a minimum. So your brain, like even right now, you don't know your brain is processing everything in here. Like there's a slight hum in here that I ignore, but it's here. And my brain is processing it and deciding I don't need to be worrying about that. So it's processing little noises everywhere else and it's whatever I'm doing. So when you're in a quiet environment, your brain can then focus a lot more on what you're studying or what you're doing versus trying to push out and ignore all the other stuff. And sometimes it can't even ignore it. Okay, so try to make sure it's in a quiet place. Read over notes as soon as possible after the class. So maybe at 12:30, something like that, go over what we did. Okay. Short sessions, we talked about that, increase the time. So I kind of mentioned 10 minutes and 10 minutes today, 15 minutes and 15 minutes tomorrow, something like that. Keep yourself organized, have some kind of system in your binder. Try to predict what some questions are going to be. That helps a lot. Math is a little bit difficult, but you know generally what kind of questions they are. But you know when you're like in social studies, you're like, oh, that's an important thing to know. It's probably going to be a question on the test or quiz or whatever. Good place is important. Underline things, highlight things, do whatever you need to do to draw attention to anything that's very important. See it, say it, hear it. The more that you can get your senses to feed your brain with information, the more it's going to remember. So that's super important. I don't know. I'm not teaching you social studies, so I have no idea. Make sure you're ready. Make sure you read directions carefully. Answer things that you know first. So don't sit there and go through a question. So you answer number 1 and question number 2. You're like, oh, I kind of remember that. And sit there for like a minute and not get it. Don't do it. Skip it. Put a flag on it on the online quizzes. Or if it's a paper one, put a little tick next to it. Go on. Do the ones you get first. Get that confidence. It might remind you of how to do question number 2, all of that sort of thing. Am I glitching? Are we good? Okay, perfect. Just bear with me. I know we're a little bit over time, but I'm just going to finish this with you guys. Relax. If your brain blanks out for a second, just count backwards. Go to another question. Don't freak out, because as soon as you bring up that anxiety in your brain, that's not going to be a good thing. And then if you get to a question, you're like, I seriously have no idea what it is. Go to the one. There's going to be like probably at least 1 or 2 questions that you're going to be like, no. Those can't be it. And then just, I guess between the last 2, educated guess sort of thing. And just stay positive, guys. Your attitude is everything. So when you come into something with a positive outlook, your brain is prepared for that and it's in that state. If you come in with a negative outlook or a stressed, anxious outlook or anything like that, it does change your brain and how it processes information and how it's receptive to certain things. So come in going, I studied, I put that effort in, I'm good. And if you can't honestly say that, then you need to change what you're doing so you don't have yourself in that anxious state or anything like that, okay? And we go back to when I was talking about growth mindset. Remember we were talking about that, and that was one of the things. It takes time and it takes effort. You guys have to put the time in and you have to put the effort in, okay? And you combine that with the positive attitude and you're good, right? You feel good about yourself, right? Okay, so that's it. So I thank you for staying with me for a little bit. So the quiz, it's just going to be, it is just going to be things like 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 3, which is 2 to the power of 5. That's adding these up, okay? It's going to be 2 to the, that's a 2. 2 to the power of 5 divided by 2 to the power of 3. Okay, so that is 2, and you subtract them, 2 to the power of 2. And then it's 2 to the power of 0 times 2 to the power of 5. Well, we know this is a 1. And then you get your answer there. 2 times 2 times 0 is good. Okay, that's basically what your quiz is going to be on. I'm going to throw a couple negatives in there just for funsies, but I just want to see how you guys are going to do. Because you got a couple days, you're going to have a couple worksheets to work on, get going on that. It is not timed, and like I said, you get 1 attempt at it, and then I will then process the information and go from there, have some conversations if I need to. And yes, you hand in one of the assignments, so guys, go to Moodle and you can check it out all there. It's all there. There's only one thing you have to hand in, and it's right below the actual worksheet, so you can do that there. Okay? So, any last minute questions that I need to answer? Okay, so for you to go, you have to tell me your favorite sport to play, and then you're welcome to go and have a good one. How many questions? I think there's 10. 10 total, I think. All right, basketball, bye Jessica. Bye, Caitlin, basketball. Danica, dance. Goodbye. Goodbye, Caitlin, with horse jumping. Bryn is dance. Goodbye. Goodbye, Caitlin P., which is soccer and hockey. Kyla, of course, horseback riding. Goodbye. Jocelyn, dance. See you later. Chess. Jess, that's a cast. That's awesome. Emily is volleyball. Fantastic. Hiking is Lindsay. Have a good one. You don't like sports, ride horses. Horse riding will count. See you, Angela. Belle, what is the homework? That's not a sport. No, I'm just kidding. The homework's on the, there's 2 of them. They're on the Moodle page. Josh, I don't think you gave me anything. Silly boy. Cass, goodbye. See you later. Dylan, bowling. Awesome. Have a good one. And when you don't find the quiz, volleyball, thanks, Alexis. You don't find the quiz, I'm going to give it to you guys next class, so you don't have to look for it. All right. Did you say where to, no, so yeah, no, the quiz, we're doing it next class, so you're not going to do it right now. It's going to be next class. All right. Any other questions? Bye, Lindsay. How are we doing, Bella and Alexis? You guys have any questions for me or anything? Or you just can't leave me because you love me so much? in the teacher-student kind of way. I know that's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm serious. Oh, it's totally serious. All right, so you guys are you guys okay? So it's the lesson 2 you hand in, and we don't do half. Yes, correct. Half of each section. So you do half the questions in section 1, half the questions in section 2, that sort of thing. Perfect. Okay. Yes, I'm just trying to get it. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so see Alexis and Belle, are you good? Awesome. Okay, have a good one, guys. See you later.